Oh, hi. Oh, hi, everyone in the universe. Olivan. Hello. Here to make sure everything is going okay. Yeah, that's what we're doing. ASMR at the beginning of an IC0 stream, that's new. I hope everyone's having a good day today. Hi. Hello. There's a party going on outside. Very, very, very much fun. Anyway, hello everyone. Hello. We are testing all sorts of things. It's a particularly inaccessible day today. I've done a lot of things that have not been working as they should. One example is the camera I'm using. It is a camera that has all sorts of fancy features. And a very inaccessible app. So essentially half of my using this camera is pressing random buttons and hoping for the best. I'll have to figure out a way to just essentially have it be in the right position, and that will take some doing with particularly like capable eyes looking over my shoulder at some point, because I can already only do so much with how much I can determine from what's happening. AI is no help, because they'll just say, there's a picture of a dude. And like, yeah, I know that, but angles, my friend, lighting angles, camera angles, the way it looks, this is important. You need to tell me these things, and AI does not. So in that sense, it gets a little interesting to test that. I've also been fighting with a TV box. Like, I'm not sure if this is a thing in the US, but in the Americas, what's happening now with a lot of ISPs that provide TV to their subscribers is you get this TV box, which is basically a Chinese knockoff Android TV stick that has Android on it up to a certain degree. Like mine runs Android TV 12, and it works as long as you're not in the actual proprietary application like interface for the actual TV provider. That part, I don't know how they managed it, but everything is unlabeled in that, so I have literally no idea what I'm pressing at any given time. And it required, there's no way around that. It's Android TV. There is no web interface that I know of, so really the only way to modify literally anything at all is to have sighted assistance. It's essentially the BIOS problem, but worse, because there is actually a screen reader. It just doesn't have access to that particular screen for some reason. Some kind of janky proprietary launcher, I'm guessing, or app that just has no accessibility support whatsoever. I would think that with the European Accessibility Act being what it is, this might get them in trouble at some point if they push it through, but honestly that's hard to say with all the exceptions and things that are in that law. So I don't know, this is an interesting situation. It's accessible, but it's not accessible. It's accessible if you use all the, apps that you use, like just regular third-party apps that you get from the Play Store. But then anything that you actually get this thing for, which is watching TV from your provider and like changing your profiles and things, it's terrible. There is apparently also a banner on Android TV. I found this funny. There's a banner on Android TV now that essentially when you turn TalkBack on, there is a banner in the screen. If you don't turn this off, it's an option that essentially tells you how to turn this off, because apparently a lot of people fat finger it and like turn it on by mistake. I actually did not know where the buttons on my remote were, so like you have to hold down, I think, back and down to make that happen. And apparently some people will press them at the same time, and then TalkBack comes on and they don't know how to turn it off. That's actually how I first clued into that this thing even had TalkBack, because I saw some forum posts on my provider's forum that said, hey, everything talks now, what do I do? So it's cool in the sense if you don't have a streamer yet and you want like a streamer this stick for your TV, you can use this and it works fine. Like that's Chromecast. Once you're logged in, you can use it on your Google account. All that stuff works, but then if you want to use it for its primary purpose, and you do have to go in these menus sometimes, like if you want to turn on extra channels like sports channels or infotainment channels or fuck porn, if you want that, you need to go in these and like sort of enable them and find them in like their proprietary interface, and you cannot do that by yourself. Like you have to get help for that. So it's an interesting rabbit hole. Like I pretty much spent yesterday and today fucking around with it a little bit, and I got TalkBack talking like 20 minutes ago, and now I'm gonna have to find somebody to essentially walk me through the entire interface, and we're gonna have to sort of useful mine out everything out of it, like look what might be interesting to look at, and then have them, while I have them with me, go through all the things that you might possibly ever want to touch those things, set them up the way you want them. And I'm pretty sure you're good at that point. But yeah, this is an interesting segue. Like I'm bringing all this up partly because it's just something I did today and I figured it's a good stream filler. But also, this is yet another thing where like switching is not as straightforward as it might seem. Some ISPs might have a perfectly usable interface, some may not. You often don't know until you try these, because that information is nowhere. Like, I saw a forum post about this actual exact same device for someone who bought this for his blind father, because he figured like my blind father can use voice commands to do everything he needs to do on a TV. And yeah, a moderator on the forum basically said, yeah, the thing is not set up for blind people. So it's very, very messy. Like if you get into this stuff, it becomes super messy. Molidvan tells a story. He says, my TV's manufacturer made a genius decision to remove talkback option from accessibility settings. So I had to get sighted assistants guide the sighted assistant to the. I need to turn on regular Braille because I have like contracted Braille on so I can learn and practice, but I cannot read long form chat messages with that on. Give me just a second here. Okay, here we go. Settings. So had the guide decided to do everything needed to do the connect ADB, and now I have to use a script on my PC to turn talkback on and off for the reason that I mentioned in my last message. Yeah, what they said was that the controls for various video players are always visible on the screen when you do talkback, which is extremely annoying. I remember that on Amazon TV you had this weird discoloration in the view when you watch with a screen reader on. It was like this sort of weird overlay that came on. I think it was meant to be like better for higher contrast, but it was really annoying for people who actually wanted to watch the TV. So yeah, these things are annoying. Like they really don't, they do very holistic work here. And yeah, for this in particular, I have to essentially do what I just said, find a person, go through all the things. I was able to at least turn the thing from Dutch to English, which if I have to use something like Ira is a lot more helpful in the sense that you can actually, like, you know, have a person look for things specifically rather than the option I'm looking for starts with TOEG. Please find it. That's not great. So that was a whole entire situation. That was fun. I forget, did we have issues with capturing VMware last time? I don't think we did. No, it looks good. Okay, so let me set up our today's entertainment, basically, because we are going to be using some more Linux distributions today. Very, very fun. Let's get that started. So we have Fedora today on the docket, Debian, Kali Linux if we get to it. Last time we took a long time doing like the simplest of simple things with Elementary and with Ubuntu. That Ubuntu short where like the accessibility page has literally zero accessibility went pretty viral to the point where something can go viral on Mastodon. Like, you know, if you get 100 boosts there, it's a lot. But yeah, we got a very, very fancy little bit of attention from that. The YouTube rebranding is in full swing. Viewpoint Unseen is now the URL you go to get to the YouTube channel. It is still like the banner we had at the beginning of the stream where it says starting soon. That still has blindly coding on it. That needs to be changed at some point. But we're doing what we can here. And yeah, that's where we're at. Let's just start right into Fedora. I have no idea if we're gonna get any like interesting traction here today, but we'll see how we get on here. Oh, I remember now. We had issues when we like started the when we first started the thing. It was fine, but then when we switched to a different distribution, for some reason it stopped working. I don't exactly know why that was, but it was super weird. Yeah, Ubuntu test VMware. Okay, should be working now. I am gone. I'll fix that in a second. I am not currently visible on the screen. Yeah, workstation is visible. Very cool. I shall now get this out of my way so I can be seen again. And then we'll start with Fedora. Hopefully I'll keep working while we do the switch to a different Ubuntu thing. A different thing, rather. Because right now it says Ubuntu test. And we're not going to be using Ubuntu test. We're going to actually... What happens if I just change the ISO to Fedora? Will that work? Because I don't think we... Did we do a full install? We'll see it in Fedora. Okay. I don't think we ever installed Ubuntu, did we? I don't think we did. I think we just looked through the install. Oh, no, we did. We did do it. We did do it. It installed. Yeah, we did do it. So we can't use this this VM. We have to make a new one. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I remember now. We did do that. So make a new VM. Recommended. Yeah, whatever. Next. I'll install the operating system later because this might have an easy install. We don't want that. Linux. Fedora. Fedoras are awesome. Fedoras are awesome. Fedora are awesome. Fedora is awesome. Someone remembers that particular thing. My condolences. Let's see, 20 gigabytes for Fedora. Will that work? Let's make it 40 just in case. 40 gigabytes. I'm going to customize the hardware, set RAM to 8, CPU to 1, and cores to 8 as well. There is a fuck ton of noise outside. I'm not a fan, but that's what we're doing right now. Okay, summary, processors 1, cores 8. There we go. I don't know who does this. There's a couple of neighbors that have, for some reason, have some kind of like karaoke set, but they don't do it inside. They blast that shit outside really loud, and the entire neighborhood can essentially join in. It's an interesting experience. Let's see, Fedora. Workstation Live 42 1.1 x86-64 is what we're running. We're going to start this up, and then once everything is loaded in, I'll make sure that we're visible. If we're not, I'll just full screen display it again. I'd rather not, but if I have to, then I will. Finish. Yeah, so now we're in Fedora test instead of Ubuntu test. Someone is roaring into that microphone like it's, I don't know, like it owes them money. Let's see, have we in fact lost the visuals on VMware? We... do not. Awesome. It's still working. Power up that sucker. Oops. I mean, power up that sucker. I was under the impression that pressing Control B would power it on. Why is it not doing that? Oh, it is powered on. Wait, where the... Oh, it is working. Okay, it is working. For some reason, it looks different. Still have what we're needing to see. Okay, it shows a black screen, but I'm not sure if that's because there is actual black screen or if it's just... I'll keep an eye on it. If it's supposed to show you something and it's still black, I'll fix it. Okay, I see a Fedora logo. Can we click that? So it, there. Reach the target socket. Okay, I see text on the screen now, so you should too. If not, then not. Let's have a look. Okay, yeah, it's not having it. Nah, there's nothing. So I'm gonna have to get creative. Let's just for shizzles, I'll remove and re-add the source one time, see if that sorts this out. Last time it didn't, but we'll check it out just in case. Window capture. Fedora. Fedora. This music is really distracting. I'm gonna put my headphones on properly so I don't hear it as badly. It's like really happy, sort of cheery old people music, and I say that in a very respectful manner. That looks better. That looks better to me. We should be good. Do you guys see that? Welcome to Fedora text. This live media can be used, blah, blah, blah. Can I see that in this window? Okay, yeah, no, it doesn't look like it's doing it. AI can sometimes be really interesting in the way it traces things. For example, it'll say Fedora is running. No, I don't think it is showing. Like AI will say it's running, but there's actually nothing visible. It's just because the window has the name Fedora on it, it just makes that call of yeah, it's there. You're all good. Everything is fine. Fine. I'll just put the entire thing on there. Wait, you can? Why can't I? I'm confused. I'm very confused. I'm not seeing it. How are you seeing it? It's very interesting. Huh. Let me try this one more time. But yeah, we have the one thing we're noticing while I figure this out. The one thing we're noticing is there's no indication whatsoever that the screen reader can be turned on. If this is your first Linux flavor and you've not actually like done your research, you will not know what to press to get the thing to talk. Okay, yeah, no, I do see it now. Okay, I do see it. It's visible to me, at least. Let's put me back in the visible. There we go. So, so yeah, what we're noticing is that there's nothing indicating that we're supposed to be able to press something to turn the screen reader on. Let me do that anyway and see if we can get it to start. Okay, so far, no, we're not. So I've pressed Windows Alt S and we're hearing no audio whatsoever coming through. That's an interesting thing. Oh. Very interesting. So first and foremost, let me make sure that audio is even going to the stream. Right now it's not. Okay, so what we might be running into is a VMware issue. I don't think you can change the audio device for I don't think you're allowed to change the output for VMware, so I've just changed my default audio to be a source you guys can hear, and I've made sure that my notification should not be coming through. Let's try it again. Windows Alt. Oh. It's trying. Interesting. So this is what I've also seen happen in Kali Linux, except Kali Linux only starts this shit up when you're done with the installer. Fedora does not like being run in a VM, apparently. Not for audio, at least. Even if it did, though, what I'm noticing is that pressing these buttons, it'll say the key name, but it's not actually saying what we're on. It's just trying to say tab and shift tab. Oh. Okay, we're good. I don't know why that happened the way it did, but it did. I'm also not sure why those pitch shiftings are happening. It looks like Orca is trying to indicate like this is a capital letter. I did not see that happen in other Orca flavors we've tested so far. Amusingly, oh my god, yes, I was talking for 5 seconds. Get a grip. What I noticed is that Fedora is in a higher pitch, but button is also in a higher pitch for that other button, and I don't think that's in capital letters, so I'm not sure why that would have been in a higher pitch, but let's just try the installer. I will say that this kind of stuttering in a VM would already be enough for a lot of people to just call it quits right here. Like, this is pretty egregious. I'm trying to hear what it's trying to say. I have the luxury of also having OCR, so I can see what it's saying. Oh, interesting. Malitfan is saying that the end of a sentence goes up in pitch for a reason I will never understand. I'm guessing that would be useful for questions, but apart from that, I wouldn't know why you would want that ever. So I'm not sure why that choice was made in Umbrella, but yeah. So it says installation method, storage configuration, review, and install. Those are the 4 steps. I can't really read it with the screen reader, but OCR does pretty good. It says, welcome, let's install Fedora now. Language, keyboard. Suggested languages: English, United States, Deutsch, English, United Kingdom, Espanol, Français, whatever that is, Pukku. I don't know what that says. Something different. I don't think we can click in a VM with a screen reader on, can we? Let's try it. English, United States. Click. No, it's not having it. So I need to somehow get this to be consistent for a little while so I can read. Yeah, I just did Windows Alt S to turn it off and trying to turn it on again, but it's not really having letting me do that. To be fair though, this is not just a Linux problem. I was trying to reset a Mac password the other day, and that was an interesting exercise in patience as well. Like I said, it's been a week for accessibility, or rather lack thereof. That whole entire wizard, like, it sort of puts you into a recovery mode where you can like log into your Apple ID, and then it lets you reset your password basically. Let's just say it didn't go well. Like, VoiceOver often lost the plot and had no idea what was happening anymore. And you just couldn't get anything. Because VoiceOver practically only has one mode of navigation. It's the VoiceOver cursor. If that doesn't work, then you're fucked, basically. So if that doesn't work, then that's it. You're end of story. You can't click anything. You can't really use the mouse cursor at that point. And to be fair, that is a very dressed down version of VoiceOver, where like you don't have much at your disposal. But yeah, it's a little problematic. I just tried to restart Orca and it's not letting me. Command not found. I tried to run Orca. I'm guessing maybe the caps lock is on. Is it like GNOME Orca or something dumb like that? No, it's not having it. And I cannot press Control of a Windows Alt S anymore. Do I have to restart this thing? Is this... Yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Orca-R, but it's not finding it for some reason. I'll reboot the Misha virtual machine. Good start so far. It is. Yeah, so far, not impressed by how this handles on a VM. I am 100% sure that it works better on bare metal. That doesn't surprise me. Hey Joshua, I am testing Fedora's accessibility for the installer. So far it's not going great. But yeah, we're doing Fedora accessibility. After that's Debian, and after that maybe it's Kali if we have time. To sort of finish off my looking at the most popular-ish Linux distro that the hey just switch to Linux crowd likes to toss at people. I guess there's Mint and there's a few others, but these are a good grab of the main ones. Not entirely sure what dealio is for the rest. It's the whole entire thing, and it's been interesting so far. It's been it's been a bit of a moment. What we found is that the speech stutters really badly in a VM. We saw that problem a little bit in Ubuntu. Was it Ubuntu? No, it was all of them. I think Elementary had that same issue where like it won't. If you stop talking to it for a while, it will literally like just give up and not let you work for a bit until it sort of stops losing its little mind. Then you can just do it afterwards. You can just figure out what you were going to do after. You just need to keep talking for a little while and not let it go to sleep, basically. And what I'm understanding is that it has to do with some kind of pipe wire thing that doesn't work quite well with VM yet. I'm not sure. Like, at this point, essentially, curious what the Debian one. That's going to be the next one over. I like their sound card cycling thing that they do with that one. But yeah, it's very clearly not something that happens super often, people running this in a VM with accessibility stuff enabled. I also heard that when I sort of brought the word out about Ubuntu and how bad their installer is now, essentially accessibility has been on a very low burner for them for quite some time, apparently. Didn't they fire most of the people who worked on it a while ago, like a couple of years back, and they're just not even really comparing what's going on. Tricky bit with these kinds of issues is that, yeah, there is a person, like I said, there's a person outside just like having a ball with a karaoke set, and they're like blasting outside. It's a very interesting situation to be talking about Linux stuff while that's going on. It's quite beautiful. We have some musical accompaniment today, and I can't even be DMCA'd for it because it's live music. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they're actually doing anything that's like trackable to like a new situation of copyright goodness, as we say. That seems to be safe. I don't think I need to filter that out. It's really all I can do. Anyway, it should have been restarted now. So let's hit the buttons. Windows Alt S. Oh, that was the Windows version of Windows Alt S. My bad. Control G, Windows Alt S. There is Orca. Yeah, this is very reminiscent of what I noticed in Kali post-launch as well. So it sort of saddens me that this still hasn't been solved. I am pretty sure that if this hasn't been solved, then Kali has that exact same issue still as well, which saddens me because their like installer, their initial installer, at least when I tried it last year, didn't have this problem, and it really started when you got into the GUI. And I'm guessing in this case we were already in the GUI, so
Tab. Browse mode. Tab.
Oh, look.
Menu. Tab. Change sys tab. Leaving form. Next button. Tab. Quit button. Keyboard. Menu.
Oh, fancy. This is a web thing.
Hunt letter 1 set hunt keyboard. Leaving form. Back button. Grade. T. Text left. H. Fedora navigation wizard steps. 1 welcome button. Leaving navigation. Image.
Yeah, I actually got a comment on one of my videos that said, why is the voice so bad, like a 1980s speech synthesizer? And I'm like, that's what it came with. They're like, we have like local LLM things we can use for speech generation, like not for screen readers we don't, but yeah, I get your point. But yeah, I do like this whole web situation for this installer. That's quite cool. Haven't seen that before. Suggested languages. It's a heading. Very nice. Let's just go with English. I do kind of feel sad that these apparently have no role. At least it doesn't say that it's a link or whatever this is. I just press enter on it. We'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, reading. We can do cool things like pressing B for next button to get through this a lot faster than we'd normally be able to. So that's very nice.
Destination heading, leave it free storage configure for leave VMware virtual NVMe disk left paren NVMe 0 N1 right paren.
Yeah, so this is essentially eSpeak, but even more grumbly than it normally would be. Oh, come on, I only left you for a second. Seriously. You in the knee. This is getting annoying. Let's Yeah, that one's shit. Because they also lock you out of the entire OS until you handle the web thing. And sometimes it crashes and it doesn't work. It's very interesting. Let me have a look really quickly at who's been coming in. So it's been Malik Van Talking, Crescent, and I saw... forgot how... Svenja. Hello, Svenja. Hello, wie geht's dir denn? It's been a minute. But yeah, Orca is having a moment. It's stuttering like a motherfucker. And it's super interesting how bad this sounds. But yeah, for some OSs like Kali, like Tails, like other things that you really only run on a temporary basis every so often, you don't want this problem in a VM. Like, sure, it can run on bare metal. Like, often you don't want to do that, though. You don't need to put this on bare metal to make it work. Unless you actually want to go, like, 24/7 Linux only, like, or at least Linux primary, which I haven't tested VM solutions on Linux. I think some of them work pretty well. But I still have my doubts about if you should be trying that, yes or no. And we'll get back to that at the end of the stream. Yeah. And this is a fantastic example of who do we blame for this. Like, this is not necessarily a Fedora issue. Like, I don't think this is even a GNOME issue. This is a really deep in the audio stack and VMware isn't liking it issue. And that's a problem because, you know, a lot of these people that are currently working on Linux accessibility, and specifically in particular, are asking, give us feedback, tell us where we can improve. But who do you go to with this? Do you talk to the VMware support folks? Do you talk to the Pipewire creators? Do you talk to the Wayland folks? Do you talk to the distribution maintainers? Do you talk to the UI designers? Do you talk to Orca people? Who owns this? Because this could be going wrong in so many places. And that's from a developer's perspective. Like, I kind of know where everything is coming from. And even I don't know where I would, like, point the finger about why this is a problem, why this isn't working. I don't know why it isn't working. I don't know where this is coming from. I know that I've seen 2 distros do this now, so it's not a Fedora issue specifically. But that doesn't really narrow it down very much. I know it's not a GNOME issue because I've also seen this happen in KDE. So it's not the desktop environment. It could still be the windowing system, the screen reader, the audio stack, the VMware support layer. It could be VMware itself. I haven't tested this in VirtualBox, and I don't intend to because I don't have one handy right now. But yeah, this is essentially stopping us cold with Fedora, because sure, I can fiddle around with it and make it work, but a user isn't going to do that. I'm really trying to highlight the perspective of random user is told to switch to Linux and tries what they find on Google to use. And they'll find this, they'll stick it in a VM, even that's a bit of a stretch, but it's less of a stretch than putting on a random computer they don't own. They do own, particularly because you need to mess with the BIOS for that, and that's not accessible, so people are likely going to try this on a VM first, and they get this experience. Like, I think we're done with Fedora. Like, it doesn't matter how good it is on bare metal. It's not usable in a VM, and that's really all what we're testing right now. So, sorry, we're done. I'll give it like one more try to see if I can get the thing in another zone where it stops stuttering for a while. But literally, the second I speak for like I stop moving, I have to keep moving. If I stop moving for like 1 second, that's it. We're done. It starts back being stuttery. It's that song in the SDF movie that goes, I'm taking my time walking down the road, and if I ever stop singing, I will explode. Hello, what have you done? That's what this is. If I stop moving, if I like pause for even a second, we're done. That's it. End of story. We have a stuttery screen reader. And if you're new to this and you kind of want to figure out what everything is and how it's ever working, you're going to run into this 50 times a second. That's it. I can't get it to work anymore. So, Fedora. Cool concept with the web installer. Would have loved to try it more, but can't. Too bad. No, if you toggle it off, you can't toggle it back on. We ran into that the first time we tried it. I'll do it again, just for shits and giggles. I'll hit Windows, Alt S. And I'll press it again. And that's it. No more screen reader. I'll do the Orca R thing. No. No, once you toggle it off, that's it. You can't toggle it back on. Don't ask me why, but that's the thing, apparently. So, this is a bit of a situation of, like, they've tested the golden path of doing this on a bare metal machine. You turn Orca on, and then you don't turn it ever off again, because you never fat-fingered the button. And then, once you get into a situation where you're no longer on that golden path, fuck you, basically. So, is this lack of staffing? Is this lack of care? I couldn't tell you. I don't know what happens behind closed doors of Fedora development, but it's broken. It could be good. And I like what they're doing with the web installer. Again, there's some really cool things you can do with that, and they have. But because of this crippling issue with VMware, you're cooked if you want to use that. Maybe, like I said, Molidvan's testing it in VirtualBox as we speak, and it may fix this issue. Maybe. But it doesn't in VMware. Like, VMware is currently the de facto. I don't think that's going to last much longer because of like what VMware and Broadcom in general are doing to their customers in general. Okay, so VirtualBox, it works better. That is good to know. So I guess the IC null wisdom I can give you for this particular situation is, you want to try Fedora? Try it in VirtualBox, because VMware essentially shuts the bed when you try it. That's all I can say. I unfortunately don't have VirtualBox handy, and it would take quite a bit of doing to get it to work, because hypervisors running at the same time is interesting. But yeah, if this works with if the thing works in VMware, and it doesn't work in VMware and it works in VirtualBox, then that may also be true for other distros that exhibit this behavior. That might be a thing I do like a post-stream deep dive on. I'll add it to the list of like 50,000 things that I have on the docket for that. Like, there's a language learning video coming. There is a couple of product reviews that I've scared the producers into letting me do. There's a couple of things coming, and this will be just one of them that I'm working on after stream, I think. Is the light off? Looks really dark in this room, but no, the light is definitely not off. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So Yeah, Fedora. A bit of a bust right now, unfortunately. Fedoras are, in VMware, particularly unawesome. Sorry. All right. Let's check Debian. I'm very curious how Debian works with VMware, given they have that whole sound card cycle thing going on. Be pretty curious how that would work in a VM. So we're going to shut this down. How are we doing on time? We're going over to 45 minutes. Yeah, that looks good. Like, I don't think we need to test Kali in this particular case because it's going to do the exact same thing. But I might quickly show off how they handle the speech assistant install bit that you otherwise wouldn't know about. I actually don't know if the screen reader comes on if you just go into their regular installer and how accessible that would be. So yes, we will probably test it just to see what it does. But yeah, that's currently where we're at. Let me make a new vim for Debian real quick. Can we have a bit of music while we do that? I tend to take it easy with music for streams like this because I have heard from some people who are, for example, autistic, who are on the spectrum and have trouble with like processing multiple sources of audio. It can be really distracting to parse what I'm saying if there's also music playing, and I do want to be respectful of that. I do like having music on when I'm just faffing around getting stuff ready and not really saying much, because it's just going to be mostly the one thing that you're listening to is music and not me talking. So sometimes I'll interject with a bit of music if I'm not saying anything that's super important, but I do want to be careful with that, given it might be tricky for some people to parse that. I also really want to improve my caption situation, but that's a tricky one for live content. Oh god. It's putting these in OneDrive of all places. Fucking Windows. That's fine for now. 40 for Debian as well. I don't think it's gonna fill up anyway. There you go. Okay, set up all the hardware stuff again. Standard stuff, 8 gigs of RAM, 8 threads on 1 core. There. And for the CD drive, we put... Huh? I'm not sure how I managed, but this doesn't have a CD drive. Interesting. I must have goofed. Hang on. You're missing nothing. I'm literally just changing it so the Debian ISO gets used. Debian. Version 12.11.0 AMD64 DVD 1.iso. Oh, don't tell me there's a DVD 2, because if there is, we're fucked. I don't have the second DVD. Okay. There. Finish. No, bad. Yep. Okay, we're done. Just in time for the song to end. Very nice. I will probably need to fiddle with the. Oh. Cannot connect the virtual device IDEs because no corresponding device is available on the host. Do you want to try to connect this virtual device even though they're every time you power on the virtual machine? I guess not then. No idea what that means. Oh, it beeped at us. I'm gonna make sure that we actually have visuals. That should do it. Let's hope it does. But yeah, it beeped at us. Made a loud beeping noise. I kind of miss PC speakers. I think a lot of computers don't really have them anymore at this point, particularly laptops don't. Okay. Does look like it's working. Should I stretch this? There.
Select a language. Choose the language to be used for the installation process.
Interesting.
The selected language will also be the default language for the installed system. Language 1. C. No localization. 2. Albanian SHKIP. 3. Amharic Ethiopic letter 12A0 Ethiopic letter 121B Ethiopic letter 122B Ethiopic letter 129B 4.
So it didn't do the sound card thing. Is that because I never pressed enter? Or is it just assuming there's only one sound card, so it doesn't need to do it? That could actually be.
8. Belarusian Belaruskaya 9. Bosnian Bosanski 10. Bulgarian
So yeah, the problem with this is if you don't know how to use Orca, which I don't honestly, you have to listen to this whole thing until you get anywhere with it.
Blank, 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 1, 2, 3, 33, Icelandic, 28, Greek, 27, German, 20,
okay, this is very reminiscent of how Kali does it as well. They just pop you into a sort of a shell.
24, French, 22, Estonian,
so I guess I type 21 or whatever English is. Yeah, let's do it Esperanto. Why not? Esperanto.
0.
I don't like conlangs that much. Tokipona is pretty cool. And Lojban is not bad either, but Esperanto is where I draw the line. Okay.
Select your location. The selected location will be used to set your time zone, and also for example to help select the system locale. Normally this should be the country where you live. This is a short list of locations based on the language you selected. Choose other if your location is not listed. Country, territory or area. 1. Antigua and
yeah, so this actually looks really similar to what the Kali one does. It may actually be the exact same installer. What I don't love is that if they have these big lists, I would rather have the default be indicated at the top instead of at the bottom.
Blank.
Particularly because that's where the cursor apparently like hangs out for screen reader. So I'd say just put like, what is your current like territory? And if there is a default, like default is XYZ. Which a lot of the times I think they do have a default. If I fill nothing in here, press enter, and any number of things could happen. Let's try it. Okay, there's no... Oh, yeah, it is. So it picked something. I have no idea what.
1. American English. 2. Albanian.
This doesn't really matter. We'll just do American English.
1. Detecting hardware to find
yeah, this is definitely the same thing as Kali uses.
50%,
so we don't really need to do Kali after this. It's very similar to this.
90%, 100%, loading additional components, 0%.
The one thing about the Kali one is that they don't advertise in any way that they have a speech assistant installer unless you go look at the wiki or something. You then need to know that you need to press S or hit the down arrow key a number of times for it to kick in. But that's exactly the only difference between this and what this is doing. I think they might at some point ask us for what desktop environment we want.
Blank, 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 blank.
I don't know what it's complaining about. Let me see. Yeah, that's good because Molifant says that they like the Slint installer for giving you a tutorial for Speak Up. That's a good idea. Like a lot of these things need much better tutorials than they currently have, and it's a problem. Wait, why are we looking at languages again? Oh, it doesn't. Everything is still on the screen. Gotcha. Okay, what's the host name for this computer? Smash Shack.
Okay, the domain name is the part of your internet address to the right of your host name. It is often something that ends in .com, .net, .edu, or .org.
Smash Shack.
If you are setting up a home network, you can make something up, but make sure you use the same domain name on all your computers. Domain name, prompt, for help.
Smash Shack at sad
D
faces.
S.
You can, if you know how speak up works. Like you can use the arrow keys and the caps lock key to essentially walk around, and I think there's something you can do with numpad keys as well. Yeah, there's no indication of how you're supposed to use this. I know kinda, like I've used it a handful of times, but there have been years in between those times, so I forget how most of it works, honestly.
Set up users and passwords. You need to set a password for root, the system administrative account. A malicious or unqualified user with root access can have disastrous results, so you should take care to choose a root.
Let's make the password. Let us do that.
Please enter the same root password. A user account will be created for you to use instead of the root account for non-administrative
I can have the root password be password.
Please enter the real name of this user. This information will be used, for instance, as default origin for emails sent by this user, as well as any program which displays or uses the user's real name. Your full name is a reasonable choice. Your full name is a
reasonable choice, not the only choice. My name is Skibbity Toilet.
Select a username for the new account. Your first name is a reasonable choice. The username should start with a lowercase letter, which can be followed.
Skibbity!
A good password will contain a mixture of
Sigma boy. And I shall make my password be the same as my username. Very, very secure. Skibbity is the password.
Please enter the same user password.
Skibbity again.
Exclamation error. Password input error. The two passwords you entered were not the same.
Oh, oops.
Please try again. Press enter to continue. Space, a good password.
Oh, yeah, like I said, you might want to use a UI for that if you can find the button. Skibbity!
Please enter.
Skibbity!
Exclamation error. Password input error.
Stop bitching!
A good
Skibbity.
Please enter.
Skibbity.
Setting up the clock 0%, 100%. Configure the clock.
So user Skibbity. Password Skibbity.
1 blank.
Oh.
1 Eastern.
Okay, let's just do Eastern time for this one.
Space detecting disks.
Okay.
BA loading additional components 12%, 25%.
That's another interesting thing. This stuff is so old that if you start pressing arrow keys at random just to see where you are in the thing, you'll add control characters and it might actually fuck up your next command.
2 guided 1 guided use N.
Did I just delete some of the text in this installer by... Okay, you can apparently just do that. Let's do the entire disks. It's asking how we want to partition our disks. We'll do one for the usual stuff.
Note that all data on the disk you select will be erased.
Yes, that is what entire disk means, I'm aware.
1 blank 1 SCSI 300
Yep.
Selected for partitioning. SCSI 301 all files in one partition recommended.
Yeah, we're gonna go for the simple route. I'm not gonna put all the partitions in, although you could probably do that with this if you really wanted to.
Guided partitioning 20%.
Here you go. Again, following the least resistance road at this point here. See how we do with Debian. Probably gonna ask us for the desktop environment. Do we have any like particular wishes for which one I should pick? Because for a normal user, it's gonna be random anyway. So
1 guided partition. 3 configure the lock. 4 configure encrypted. 2 configure software RAID. 3 configure the logical volume map. 4 5 configure iSCSI. 6 7 SCSI 3 8 01 primary 041.9 05 10 11 undo changes to partitions. 12 finish partitioning and write changes to
I was just fucking up the I was fucking up the password entry. That's really what it was, I think. All right, let's go. 1 2.
If you continue, the changes listed below will be written to 1.
Yes. I would like to continue.
Partitions.
I do like that they're very explicit about, hey, if you do this, you're gonna wipe everything on this disk. Are you 30%. Absolutely god-awful sure you want to do that? Because sometimes it can be way too easy to do very destructive things to very destructive large amounts of data, which is not great.
70.
I do like that this is very cautious. It's not very a Linux like thing you would associate with Linux. If you do RMRF, it'll just happily delete whatever.
79,
But in this case, it
83.
does say like, hey, bro, you do that, shit's gone. Mate works. Okay, so no and KDE both fall over when you use them. Speech breaks, as in that little stuttery thing that we found earlier.
B. BA. BA.
That is wonderful. Can I have
B. BA.
Okay, so I can't use screen reader commands right now.
BA. BB 100%. Configuring apt 5%, 11%, 22%. Configure the package manager.
You know what? Your mom's a percent. Fighting words right there.
1. Yes. Blank. 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 1. 2. 2. 2.
What's the
no.
question? I missed the question. I cannot get back to the question for some reason.
Blank. 1. Yes.
I guess the answer to the question is yes.
1 space. The image with the following label has already been scanned. Debian GNU/Linux 12.11.0 bookworm. Official AMD 64 DVD binary 1 with firmware 20,250,517-952. Please replace it now if you wish to scan another. Scan extra installation media. 1. Yes. 2. No prompt. For help, default 1.
I've seen that. Yeah, our MRF/ doesn't work anymore. Like, you have to actually explicitly say, yeah, you want to do that. No, we don't want to scan more shit. Let's go.
27%, 33%. A network mirror can be used to supplement the software that is included on the installation media. This may also make newer versions of software available. You are installing from a DVD image. Even though it contains a large selection of packages, some may be missing. If you have a reasonably good internet connection, use of a mirror is suggested. If you plan, 1, 2, no, 1, yes.
Sure, use a mirror. Go
1.
nuts.
The goal is to find a mirror of the Debian archive that is close to you. 1. Enter information manual. 2. Argentina. 3. Armenia.
Is there a Netherlands?
19. Finland.
Finland?
27. India.
I mean, that's only a few hours away.
31. Italy.
Swami!
32. Japan.
Let's see.
37. Luxembourg. 41. Netherlands. 41.
41 is Netherlands. Let's go.
Please select a Debian arc. 1. Deb.debian.
Hey, computer. Oh no, I thought I picked like an automatic version, but I did not pick an automatic version. You just use the first one. I don't care.
Use HTTP blank. Blank.
No, I don't want to use a proxy. Just do it.
Blank. 33%.
Yeah, I'm noticing that sometimes you cannot get back to the actual prompt that you're answering to. You can see the answers, but not the prompt. I don't know what's causing that. It's a very interesting issue.
Select and install software. 1%. Select and install software. 1% BABB.
Ba. I guess it's just having a ball now. It means we can talk for a bit. Okay. Well, let me put this on for a minute here. There. This is my room.
10%.
I don't think there's anyone currently watching that can actually see my room, but this
configuring
is
popularity contest.
Popularity
the system may
contest.
anonymously supply the distribution developers with statistics about the most used packages on this system. This information influences decisions, such as
You guys
which
can still hear
packages
me,
should
right?
go on the first distribution CD. If you choose to participate, the automatic submission
fixed the
script
fact that
will run
this-
once every
this scene
week,
needs me,
sending
I think.
statistics to the distribution
Yeah, okay,
developers.
beautiful. So
The
this
collected
is my just
statistics
chatting
can be
view
viewed
for
on
a second here. I got a white camera on the screen for people who want to see. Who cannot see.
This choice can be later
I'll
modified
switch
by
back in a
running
second, but yeah, this
dpkg
is
reconfigure popularity
essentially
contest.
the other way of doing an install.
Participate
Last
in the
week we saw a
package
GUI,
usage
and it
survey.
worked kind of
1.
okay.
Yes. 2.
With, I'm
No
gonna turn
prompt.
that down a bit so I
For
can talk
help,
over it.
default.
What we found is that worked okay. Ubuntu apparently had quite a few issues with basic accessibility in the accessibility page and all throughout the installer, really. Elementary did good in the sense that the installer was very helpful and actually did most of what it was supposed to, if not all it was supposed to. I'd say Fedora is probably just fine, just not in VMware. What I saw is that Orca handles these web page based installers just fine. I did notice that the suggested languages were bits of text and not buttons. I'm not sure if you could actually press those and have them work. I did not test that, but on the whole, it looks pretty good. And this is essentially a command line based installer. So by default, you'd think that's accessible in the sense that it's just text, so you can't really ruin it. And while that's true up to a point, there's also a couple of things that are apparently somewhat breakity around the seams. What I'm noticing, for example, is that I can't always read the question I'm being asked, only the answers to the question. And I'm using caps lock plus up and down arrow keys. Maybe I should not be using those keys. It might be that the default key bindings use insert instead. I haven't tested that, I haven't checked that. It may very well be that that's the issue. I don't know. But yeah, that's the other way of doing it. And that might be a little bit more sort of confrontational for people because, oh no, scary command line from the start off. I mean, Linux has a reputation to be a little bit more terminal heavy. That's not necessarily always true. You can absolutely, particularly if you're not a very technical person, get by with Linux just fine without ever touching the terminal for the most part. But yeah, this is another way of doing it. It is more installable, more accessible for some people. It's worse for others. Yeah, what can I say? That's really the main difference between these. We'll go back, finish this up. Let's put the thing back on the screen. There you go. All right, let's see. Looks like I got the sleeping camera issue solved in the sense that it no longer just falls on its butt. I'm honestly not entirely sure if I have the angle quite the way it's supposed to be used, but it is currently pointing in the generally right direction. So yeah, again, sighted assistance when you're setting up cameras, lighting angles and things. This is a super helpful thing to have. You don't need it necessarily. You can get relatively close by yourself, but you will have weird little not quite properly centered. And if you're a perfectionist, like honestly I tend to be, if I can perceive what I'm actually doing and what I'm looking at, tricky. Anyway, let's have a look at what we're actually supposed to do here.
2, 1, yes, blank, blank.
Yeah, here's the same problem. I can see the answers.
1, 2,
I have
2,
no idea what I'm
no.
answering yes or no to because I wasn't paying attention. And I don't think you can have it be read out. Can you do like the
prompt? 1.
Oh,
yes, 2,
okay.
bottom.
You're supposed to use the faux, like pretend numeric keys to do that. So you do caps lock U, I, and O for lines.
This choice can be blank. If you choose blank, the first distribution CD packages on this system, the system may not blank. Blank.
So what is this? The system may anonymously do what now?
The system may anonymously supply the distribution developers with statistics about the most used packages on this system. This information influences decision.
No.
16%. Software selection.
Okay.
At the moment, only the core of the system is installed. To tune the system to your needs, you can choose to install one or more of the following predefined collections of software. Choose software to install. 1. Debian desktop environment. 2. GNOME. 3. XFCE. 4. GNOME Flashback. 5. KDE Plasma. 6. Cinnamon. 7. Mate. 8. LXDE. 9. LXQT. 10. Web Server. 11. SSH Server. 12. Standard System Utilities. Prompt. For help, default 1712.
So yeah, this is dreadfully sad. I'm not sure what the Debian desktop environment is.
Blank. Prompt set for choose software 1.
Anyway,
Debian
we
desktop
want
environment 2.
probably
GNOME,
like
3. XFCE 4. GNOME Flashback 5. KDE Plasma 6. Cinnamon.
Interestingly,
7. Mate 8. LXDE 9.
apparently
LXQT.
Mate is one of the default ones that it considers you should get, because 1712 is apparently the default
10.
things.
Web Server 11. SSH Server 12. Standard
I think
System
I'll make
Utilities
that 7, 11, 12.
2.
and go. Yeah. So mate instead of Debian environment. Let's go.
16%. 20%.
But yeah, this is the exact same installer that Kali also uses. And I have also found that when you do pick either GNOME or KDE, because I don't think it offers you mate.
30%.
I forget if XFCE does it, but it doesn't offer you mate in that one. Those all have that weird glitchy, stuttery audio bug. So VirtualBox might be what you want in that situation. I don't know how well they do with things like network topology and how accessible all that is, so that might be a
40%.
problem if you're doing really specific advanced things. Then again, they do have a command line client which handles most of that stuff as well, so if you are not afraid of the terminal, you could do some more like heavy-handed stuff there if the UI is not accessible. Again, that's a bit outside of the scope of these particular streams because we're going in a very sort of beginner-friendly, first time, I've never used Linux before kind of situation. And in those kinds of situations, this would almost never touch you. Unless you're running into the issue that you don't have internet on the guest, which can happen sometimes, then you need to fuck with the network type and switch it from like bridged to NAT or whatever they call it in the VBox. But yeah, that's basically what this is.
60%.
And like, the only difference, like I said, between Debian and Kali is
70%.
that Debian tells you, hey, there's a speech assistant thing, and Kali does not tell you that. It'll beep at you. And you're supposed to note it then, I think it was either press S or like hammer down arrow and press enter once.
90%.
And then it'll open up the speech assistant installer like this one that we just did. And the rest is the same. But yeah, that's essentially what we're doing. That's how it works, and that's how we are running into it. So while this is installing, I don't think we're going to do much with the installed system that much, but I do want to sort of finish up here. I don't think we're going to have a super long stream today. Let me just look. Yeah,
100%.
it's 10:30, 13 right now. I've been going for like an hour, and I think we'll be able to stretch it to like an hour and a half or something. I'm honestly a little tired, and it's very warm in this room, so if I can make it a little bit shorter than I normally would, it's probably preferable, but
this new installation
let
is the
me
only operating
go back to the
system
wide
on this
view here for a
computer.
second and
If so,
talk
it should be safe to install the
about
bootloader to your primary drive
let
UFI
me answer this
partition /
question
boot
first
record.
here.
Prompt 1. Yes 2. 1 1. Yes 2. No prompt. For help.
Yeah, it's the grub
default 1.
question.
Space. You need to make the newly installed system bootable. 1. You need to make the newly installed system bootable by installing the grub bootloader on a bootable device. Space.
What do you want?
Prompt. Device for bootloader installation. /dev/fd0 will install grub to a floppy. Be a thumb drive. /dev/sdb will record. /dev/sda will install grub to your primary drive UFI partition /boot. The device notation should be specified as a device in /dev.
Why isn't it just picking the one by default here?
50%. 60. 83%. 100%. Finishing the installation. 3%. 10%.
Yeah, you do
20%.
that. You can do that by yourself, right? You don't need me for that. Okay, so there. So I want to talk a bit about like what we've been doing for the last couple of streams. Like the first stream, we looked into a few alternatives to Europeans, to American big tech. We looked at that. We looked at PeerTube. I still don't have that account verified and actually have permission to post yet, by the way. I've been monitoring, but there's still no response to it. So I guess that's how that's going. We've looked at that Google Docs alternative, which worked-ish, but wasn't great. And then we looked into a bunch of Linux distributions, and I wanted the answer to the question, can you just switch to Linux? Can you just jump ship if you work in, say, a place where like they're switching from, I don't know, Microsoft Office to a Notion, to a European alternative, to Proton? And the answer is no, probably not. I think what we found over the last few weeks is that there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and no one is really looking into these things over here. The EAA, the European Accessibility Act, I'm going to bring my TV example in here again, is in effect, has been for a few weeks now, and I guess the lawsuits will start happening any minute now to like bigger players like airlines, big shopping concerns, probably ISPs in the bigger countries. But particularly open source things, let me put it this way. Accessibility standards have existed for 20 years now, and a lot of things are released inaccessibly, and then even more things are kept that way, and there's no effort being done to make them accessible. In the US, in big tech, we are getting accessible tools because the ADA and other laws in that sort of same wheelhouse are scaring people into making things accessible. It's sad, but it's true. Lawsuits are a big stick that disabled people over there can swing. Certainly not the only weapon they have, but it's one of them. I know that like airlines in particular are very worried about that because they cannot have any more like bad publicity than they're already getting for whatever reason. So I spoke to a juror at some point who worked for a particular, I forget which one, but they worked for a particular airline, and they were like saying like, yeah, we really do fear being sued by people with disabilities a little bit. And that's understandable because that is unfortunately the only way people can remember that we're making things for humans and not for pay pigs. And for open source, I guess, the new shiny often. It's an interesting domino problem because what happens is open source projects often use open source UI toolkits, and then those are following the new shiny without making them accessible, and it's like inaccessible all the way down, basically. So at that point, if you decide to procure a UI toolkit, as it were, for an open source project, and it's not accessible, and then someone comes along later and says, hey, your UI is not accessible, then you're already so far in and you're so locked into that UI that it's now going to be a fuck ton of work to get that to work and get that to be accessible. Preferably, that should be done by the UI vendor and not the actual person that makes the thing. So now it becomes a he said, she said, this is his fault, this is my fault situation. And really the only like person who gets the shaft there is the user. Like you can make issues on GitHub or wherever it's hosted, and you'll just see this thing go back and forth for years and no one's fixing anything. And frankly, if this is a project or a thing that you have to use for work, you can't have that kind of delay. You cannot have people like arguing who needs to fix something for literally 5, sometimes even 10 or 15 years before something finally gets done. That's half of my life. 15 years. I'm 33 in a few days. So that's just under half of my life that I've seen some issues be open. That's a problem. That is a serious problem because people don't have half of their life to wait for something that is need for productivity, for important life things that need to be done, important adulting things that need to be done. You can't wait for that long to get those things accessible. So in a pinch, if you have infinite money and infinite time and infinite patience, could you switch away from things that currently work fine for you, even though they phone home and they have AI and all sorts of random shit? Yeah, you probably could with enough dedication and tenacity and maybe a sighted assistant some now and again and a couple of other things. But can you just do that on a whim? No, you cannot. A lot of the time, that's just not feasible. And I've seen arguments on Mastodon in particular, and that's a little telling, but I'll leave you to decide that it doesn't matter if it's accessible. We can fix that later, but we need to jump ship now because if big tech goes under, then no one can work. I'm like, that's an ironic way of looking at it because essentially what you're saying is it doesn't matter if you can't work. It's a problem if we can't work. And that puts the finger on the sore spot right there. Yes, that's exactly what the problem is. It becomes an issue when it touches someone personally that isn't a disabled person or a minority. Then it becomes a problem. Then it's suddenly a huge issue. And that is a reason to preemptively switch to things that are not accessible for people who need to switch along with you. And when it comes down to it, too bad for disabled people. Too bad. We need to move on. We need to move forward. We can't have everyone be, unable to work. But, if we can sacrifice your productivity for our productivity, Oh, that's okay then. We can fix it later. Don't worry. Funding will happen. Someone will fix it. Just pray hard enough and it'll happen. That's kind of the mentality that I've been seeing, and it's honestly kind of disgusting. Like, thanks for taking away my great equalizer that I've been using for decades to get work done, to do these streams for you people, to do all sorts of things that I would not otherwise be able to do. Twitch is certainly not like a poster child for accessibility, but I'm pretty sure it's better than other things I've seen that are really bad. We're not spoiled for choice as disabled users. We're not. There is another streaming tool called Meld that I've been meaning to look at. I looked at it briefly, and it's just a QT mess of. It's cool. It does some really cool things, namely in the visual space. Like, you can do some really cool designer things with it and make your stream look super fancy. But also, the UI is not super accessible currently. Like, you can probably make it work with a bunch of like fiddling around, but it's not pleasant. And when you're doing a stream, you need to be able to do something very quickly. I need to be able to just go from this to this, back to this, and now this again. If I can't do that quickly, and then there is an issue. I can't do something as fast as my fellow streamers can do. Audio description, I flip between scenes a few times visually. So you can obviously like get third-party tools. You can get a Stream Deck, and don't worry, there'll be a Stream Deck video soonish. But some things you can get around. Like, some things you cannot just do with a hack or a script, and that's where it gets tricky. There's another Firebot alternative called Streamer.bot that I've been eyeing as well. They have some interesting issues as well. It's a C# app, so I would love to fix it, but it's not open source, so I can't go in and fix the UI for them. So I dropped a thread on their forum topic channel on Discord that I'm sure will not be looked at for the next 5 years. But hey, I did my part. And that's really it. That's really what I keep seeing. It's inaccessible because somewhere in the design pipeline, somewhere in the development pipeline, something is inaccessible. In this case, it's .NET horrible defaults for a lot of controls. You bring it up, and you essentially become that kid that tries to get their parents' attention when it's a really busy day and the parents are like doing 5 days at once, and you're trying to get them to look at something you're doing. It's like, watch me, look at me, look at me. And they're like, in a minute. And then they'll not look at you for 5 hours. Yeah, that's what this is. That's exactly what this is. And when the kid is an upper executive that's actually happens to be a person that's blind, and they can no longer use their CRM or whatever the hell that they're using that they switched away from the thing that works for, you get fired. It's that simple. Between overall productivity and accessibility, overall productivity is always going to win. Just look at the layoffs because of AI that are happening right now. So with all due respect and with absolutely every like understanding bone in my body, I say to people who tell me to just switch to something, it's not that simple. Stop telling me that it is. It's not. And I've shown you in like 3 hours long streams why it isn't. Go watch them, then bother me again. Can't be bothered? Fine, then I'm not bothering with you either. Bye. And that's where I should just hit the stop streaming button and then be done with this. But yeah, that's really what it is. Unfortunately, that is the grim reality we currently live in. Like, we had a good heyday for accessibility for a while, but I think that heyday is kind of coming to an end a little bit. AI, bad as it is in some respects, may actually be the thing that turns that corner a little bit. And I'm only saying that because AI is hopefully at some point going to be really good at doing really repetitive drudgery tasks, like adding labels to controls, for example, and making sure they actually work, like maybe running assistive labs or some other thing that lets you do that. Wow, I have a lot of... Wow. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I didn't think I had this many people. Did you know that if you have more than 6 viewers on Twitch, you're within like the 10% on the platform? Like 90% of people on Twitch, because of their shit discoverability and because of their shit everything else, really, you just don't get found. There's a lot of things, and I said that in my previous stream yesterday as well. There's just a lot of things that that make it so you don't get found. So like, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I like that my ramblings are at least somewhat helpful to some people. And I really never want to do this for money if I can help it. Like if I ever get to the ground, sure, I'll try that. But really what I want to do is educate people. I want to get my knowledge that's locked in my head, that's sort of based on all the things I have seen and all the things I have learned. I want to get that out there to people. And if that makes me a buck, great. If it doesn't make me a buck and it gets more people involved in things they figured they would not be able to do, even better. So I implore out of everyone that is currently watching, if you do have friends that you think might like this kind of content, please direct them to the YouTube channel. Viewpoint Unseen is the YouTube channel. Have them comment, have them subscribe, because that really helps me out a great deal. Because of YouTube's discoverability and the way the algorithm works, if I get more interactions and more engagement on those videos, I can reach a lot more people, which means I can do a lot more good for a lot more people, which is what I eventually want to do with these channels. So that is my request as a streamer. I don't care about the money. I don't care about the coffee donations. I don't have a Patreon, honestly, because I'm too lazy to come up with perk ideas, but I don't have one. But yeah, engagement on the channel would be super helpful. We're currently stuck on 274 subscriptions on that. It'd be great if you could bring that up a tiny bit. So this is not even me begging for money. This is me begging for engagement on my videos. Please comment on me. But yeah, next week, yeah, I'll probably be around next week still. Next week, I will do a couple of game streams. Not sure exactly what we'll play. Probably The Last of Us at some point, and then maybe something else. Next Saturday, I don't know what I'll do yet. Maybe I'll do like an unboxing of something, or we'll play with the camera software a bit or something. We'll have something to play with. Maybe we'll do some Try Hack Me. It's been a minute since we did that. So we shall see. For now, though, I think I've said everything I was going to say. Again, we could go into this installed Debian system, but I kind of don't want to, because we've already kind of like skewed the experiment by picking mate over the default option. But yeah, what we've learned, VirtualBox for virtual Linux machines, apparently, because VM's audio stack doesn't know how to handle it. I don't know what other extra accessibility issues that will introduce, but that is a better starting point for these things, particularly for Debian, Fedora, and Kali Linux. Apart from that, that's really all I had for today. I'm going to see if I can find somebody to raid. If anyone has a suggestion of a friend that's currently live that I can help by sending my viewers their way, please tell me so I can take a look. If not, I'll take a super quick look to see if I have anyone that's live that I could go talk to right now. Otherwise, we might just call it here. I don't know. Bruno is looking for the next dollar. Okay, well, Bruno can do that by himself, I think. I only see that I am live. We must switch away now. Yeah, well, I hope that was properly addressed at the very least. I don't really see anyone, so honestly what I think I will do is I will call it here, guys. Thank you so much for everyone for chiming in. I appreciate it super much. Look, I'm happy. I'm super happy. Yay! And yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday probably, or Friday, depending on, I have a thing on Wednesday. Not sure how long that's gonna last for, but I'll be back either on Wednesday or Friday as a gaming channel, and then Saturday I'll do a stream right before I duck out for a couple of weeks. So that's been this IC0 series of streams on Just Switch to It. The answer, long story, it's complicated, but it's not that simple. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much, people who watch the VOD later. And, you know, if you're having a good day, that's great. If you're not having a good day, it's almost over. And it'll be a better day tomorrow. So have a fantastic time. If you can't, have as good a time as you can. Take care of yourself. Drink water if you need to. And I'll see you next